Hello lovely beaders. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video we are going to bead this beautiful traditional folk necklace. As some of you might know, I don't usually bead in this traditional folk style, but I recently received a special request to create a few of these pieces. I fell in love with the process and I'm excited to share it with you. Grab your beads and let's get started. We will be working with 3 types of size 11 seed beads. One of these is your main color. Try to match your beading thread to this main color. My main color is red, so my beading thread is also red. I will show you later why this step is important. Start by stringing 1 gray bead and 6 red beads. Slide your beads down on your thread. Leave a tail that is approximately 15 centimeters. And go through only the gray bead, pointing towards the end of your thread. Tie the 2 ends together so the beading won't unravel while we make the necklace. But when we finish the necklace, we will come back and use this tail to secure the first beaded loop. String 8 red beads. Slide your beads down to the first circle. Skip the last bead you added and go through the next 2 beads. Like you see, you have a circle and a stick for now. String a gray, a white and a gray bead. Skip 3 red beads and go through the next red bead in line. Those 3 beads we just added, the gray, white and gray, are the center of our first leaf motif. String 3 red beads. And go through the second red bead after the gray bead in your starting circle. It's a key element in many traditional beading styles, where the work progresses in a single direction. So we are working from top to bottom and then from bottom to top. And when you reach the end of a row, we need to make a turn. To turn, you need to string 4 red beads. And you need to go back through the middle bead of the 3 bead unit you added previously. Now we need to complete our first leaf. So string 2 red and 1 gray bead and go through the white bead. String 1 gray and 2 red beads and go through the last red bead. You need to turn. Go through the 2 red beads just added. This is a perfect spot where you can see why it's important to match your thread to your main bead color. If I were using white thread here, it would be very visible. String 3 red beads and go through the first red bead after the gray bead. This is the last step to finish off the first leaf motif. And here it is. Our first leaf motif finished. We will start the second motif by stringing 1 red, 1 gray and 1 red bead. With these beads, go through the red bead that I will show you in the close-up. This bead is the 3rd bead strung for the 4 bead unit. The 4 bead unit was our turning unit. From now on, I will call this the link bead. And now we need to make the turn again. So string 4 red beads and go through the gray bead. On every second turn you will pass through a gray bead. This means you have just completed 1 leaf motif. And we will start the next. So string 8 red beads. Slide the beads down on your thread. Skip the last bead and go through the next 2 beads. String 1 gray, 1 white and 1 gray bead for the middle of the leaf. Skip 3 red beads and go through the next red bead in line. String 3 red beads and go through the link bead from the turning unit. Make the turn by stringing 4 red beads and go through the middle bead from the last 3 bead unit. String 2 red and a gray bead and go through the white bead. String 1 gray and 2 red beads and go through the last red bead. Turn back in the last 2 red beads. String 3 red beads and go through the red bead after the gray bead. And the second leaf motif is finished. To start the third motif, string 1 red, 1 gray and 1 red bead. Go through the link bead strung in the turning unit. And basically all you need to do is repeat all the steps to make another leaf. So turn with 4 red beads. String 8 red beads to start the third leaf. Skip the last red bead and go back in the next 2 beads. String the middle of the leaf. So string 1 gray, 1 white and 1 gray bead and go through the penultimate red bead from the line. String 3 red beads and go through the link bead from the turning unit. String the turning unit, so string 4 red beads. Go through the middle bead from the unit with 3 red beads. String the second part for the middle of the leaf, so string 2 red and a gray bead and go through the white bead. String a gray and 2 red beads and go through the last red bead from the line. Turn back in the last 2 red beads. String 3 red beads and go through the first red bead after the gray bead. And you finish the third leaf motif. You will now repeat this pattern until the necklace reaches your desired length. This is a collar style necklace, so the final size is a personal measurement. To calculate how many motifs you need, first measure one of your finished leaves. For my necklace, I beaded a total of 45 leaf motifs. Here is a simple trick so you don't have to count the leaves constantly. Just count out the beads for the center of each leaf motif before you start. For my 45 leaf necklace, for example, I set aside 45 of the white beads at the beginning. When I run out of those white beads, I know my necklace is finished. My shorter necklace with 41 leaf motifs gave me a beaded length of almost 35 centimeters. I also added an extender chain for an adjustable size. Remember that the clasp and jump rings will also add to the final length. I made 44 leaf motifs and I need one more. I will speed up the beading part of this last one so we don't get bored. But I will come back to show you the final touches. Do you remember how we started this necklace? With a 7-bead unit of 1 gray and 6 red beads. This unit is made of 3 parts. A part of the 3-bead unit, the link bead and the 4-bead turning unit. We need to make this loop for the clasp in this end of the necklace too. So you need to make the 3-bead unit with the gray in the middle and the turning unit. And that will give you the bead loop on the end of your necklace. But you need to somehow secure this bead loop without creating any new visible thread paths. I will lead my thread through the last leaf and go back on the side of the leaf to reach the loop again. This way I can go through the loop again, and then I will make some double knots and cut off my thread. I make a double knot between two beads, then pass the thread through a few beads and repeat the double knot. I make usually 2 or 3 double knots before I cut the thread. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe and give it a thumbs up. Your support helps me keep creating free content. Every like, comment, and share makes a difference. Want to do more? You can check out my tutorials and jewelry. Links are in the description. Thank you so much for helping me keep this channel going. Thread the tail and use it to reinforce the starting bead loop, just like I showed you on the other side of the necklace. Go through the first leaf and then back through the bead loop to reinforce it. And all you need to do is finish off the tail with some double knots. Let's assemble the necklace to complete the project. You will need an extender chain, 2 jump rings, and a lobster clasp. Open a jump ring. Thread it through the beaded loop and the clasp and close the jump ring. Do the same thing on the other side with the extender chain. And with that, our beautiful Sylianka necklace is all finished. I know beading 45 of the same leaf motifs can be a little boring, but I think the final result is a truly beautiful piece. I'm so curious to see how many of you will bead one for yourselves. And that's the end of today's video. If you watched it and liked it, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you for spending time with me. See you next week.